Namaste, doston. Welcome to our special coverage, where we break down the most important global issues for you. Today, we're talking about something very important, the Iran nuclear deal, a topic that has shaped international relations for years and continues to make headlines. The details can seem complicated, but don't worry. I'll break it down in a way that's easy to follow, so you can understand what's really at stake. Let's rewind to the year 2015, when the world breathed a collective sigh of relief after months of tense negotiations and uncertainty. Iran and a group of powerful countries, including America, Britain, France, Russia, China, and Germany, finally reached a historic agreement after years of diplomatic efforts. This agreement was called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. You might know it better as the Iran nuclear deal. The main goal of the deal was simple but crucial: to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons and to ensure its nuclear program remained peaceful. In return for strict limits and inspections, many tough economic sanctions that had hurt Iran's economy for years would be lifted. This meant Iran could once again sell its oil and gas to the world, boost its economy, and reconnect with global markets and businesses. The deal was celebrated as a major diplomatic breakthrough, with many calling it a turning point in international relations. It was widely seen as a victory for diplomacy, a rare moment of cooperation, and a hopeful step towards a safer, more stable world. But as we'll see, the story didn't end there. Big changes were just around the corner. In 2018, Donald Trump, then the President of the United States, made a momentous decision that would reshape global politics. He announced that America would withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal, a landmark agreement that had been forged after years of tough negotiations between Iran and 6 world powers. Trump argued that the deal was fundamentally flawed. He claimed it wasn't strict enough on Iran's nuclear activities and failed to address other pressing concerns, such as Iran's ballistic missile program and its support for groups and militias across the Middle East that the U.S. considered destabilizing. The announcement sent shockwaves through the international community. Many world leaders were caught off guard and voiced their disappointment and concern, fearing the collapse of years of diplomatic progress. They pointed out that, according to international inspectors, Iran was sticking to its commitments under the deal. The International Atomic Energy Agency had repeatedly verified that Iran was complying, and many believed the agreement was effectively curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions. Despite these assurances, Trump pressed forward and reimposed harsh economic sanctions on Iran, reversing years of diplomatic engagement. The renewed sanctions struck a heavy blow to Iran's economy. Everyday life became more challenging for ordinary Iranians, with rising prices, job losses, and a currency in freefall. With the U.S. no longer part of the deal, Iran began to gradually scale back its own commitments, signaling its frustration and warning that it would not remain bound by the agreement alone. Iranian scientists started enriching uranium to higher levels than before, though still not reaching the threshold needed for a nuclear weapon. The move was seen as a warning to the world. Tensions in the Middle East began to rise sharply. The world watched anxiously, worried that the unraveling of the deal could spark a new and dangerous conflict in the region. Fast forward to the year 2025. The world has changed in ways few could have predicted, and the political landscape in the United States is once again making headlines across the globe. Donald Trump is back in the Oval Office, having reclaimed the presidency after a dramatic election. His return has sent shockwaves through Washington and beyond. And here's where things get really interesting. The world watches closely as Trump, known for his unpredictable style, prepares to make his next move on the international stage. In a stunning twist, Trump, who famously tore up the Iran nuclear deal during his first term, is now reaching out to Tehran. The same man who once called the agreement a disaster is suddenly open to dialogue. In April 2025, indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran quietly began in Oman, a neutral ground known for its discreet diplomacy. The world's media scrambled to keep up as rumors of back-channel negotiations swirled. The atmosphere was described as surprisingly positive and constructive, with both sides showing a willingness to listen and engage, despite years of mistrust and tension. Encouraged by the progress, a second round of talks is already scheduled to take place in Rome, signaling that both nations are serious about finding common ground. But perhaps the biggest surprise is the man leading the American team, Steve Witkoff. Witkoff is a real estate tycoon with no background in foreign policy or international negotiations. His appointment has raised eyebrows in diplomatic circles. Yet, he's a close friend of Trump and is renowned for his aggressive deal-making skills, qualities Trump believes are perfect for these high-stakes talks. On the other side of the table sits Iran's representative, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. He's a seasoned diplomat, respected for his deep experience and steady hand. Araghchi was also a key negotiator for Iran during the original JCPOA talks, giving him unique insight into the complexities of the current situation. So what does each side want from these renewed negotiations? The stakes are high and the demands are clear. Iran's top priority is the lifting of crippling economic sanctions that have battered its economy for years. They want to see their economy recover, with businesses reopening and people returning to work. Iran is also eager to resume trading freely with the world, exporting goods, and rebuilding vital connections with international markets. And above all, they insist on their right to peaceful nuclear energy, a point they are not willing to compromise on, no matter how tough the negotiations become. Now here's where things get complicated. America's position on the nuclear deal seems to be shifting, causing confusion and concern. Initially, there were reports that the US might allow Iran to enrich uranium to a low level. This was seen as a major concession by America and a sign that a new deal might be possible. But then, Trump and Witkoff changed their tune. They started demanding that Iran completely dismantle its entire nuclear program. They also accused Iran of being fairly close to having a nuclear weapon and warned of military options. This sudden shift in America's position has raised eyebrows. It's unclear what exactly the US wants from Iran, and this inconsistency is making it difficult to see a clear path forward. For Iran, the stakes couldn't be higher. The Iranian people are suffering under the weight of sanctions. Their economy is in bad shape, with high inflation and unemployment. They desperately need relief from the sanctions. Iran has the potential to be a prosperous nation, but the sanctions are holding them back. Iran has repeatedly said that it does not want a nuclear weapon. Their supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, has even issued a fatwa, a religious decree, against nuclear weapons. What Iran wants is to be treated with respect and fairness. They want the right to develop peaceful nuclear energy, just like other countries. And most importantly, they want to avoid another devastating war. The world is watching these talks closely. The outcome could have major consequences for global security. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, is also playing a role. They're responsible for monitoring Iran's nuclear activities and verifying that they're in compliance with any agreements. Countries like Israel and Saudi Arabia are wary of Iran's nuclear ambitions. They see Iran as a threat and are urging the US to take a tough stance. On the other hand, Russia and China, who were also part of the original nuclear deal, have been critical of America's withdrawal. They're urging both sides to return to the JCPOA. The situation is complex, with many different actors and interests at play. As we wait for the second round of talks in Rome, the big question is, can a new deal be done? It won't be easy. There's a lot of mistrust between the US and Iran. The situation is further complicated by America's shifting demands and confusing signals. But both sides also have a strong incentive to reach an agreement. Iran needs sanctions relief, and the US wants to avoid a nuclear-armed Iran. The world is hoping for a peaceful resolution. A new nuclear deal would be a major victory for diplomacy and a step towards a more stable and secure world. What do you think? Can a new deal be done? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Huge thanks for watching. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's keep this journey going. I truly appreciate you being here. Thanks for your support. It means the world. See you next time.